So this is page 373, number 10, and we're given that in 2002, the population of town X is 7,250, decreasing by 120 per year, and population of town Y is equal to 9,000, increasing by 300 per year. And the question asks, in what year do the towns have the same population? So after 2002, town X, which is smaller, is going down, and town Y, which is larger population, is going up. So they're definitely not going to meet after that point, because town Y is already larger, and if it's just getting more and more larger, then they're getting further away from each other. So it definitely happens before year 2002. So one approach, I think probably the most straightforward approach, is to make a table of values. So if we make a table, and we have year, population of town X, and the population of town Y. And we think about year 2002, the population of town X was 7,250, and the population of town Y was 9,000. So if town X is going down 120 per year, that means in the previous year they must have had 120 more people than in year 2002. So that would be 7,370. You can get that by adding 120 to 7,250. And if population of town Y is going up by 300 per year, that would mean that in year 2001, the previous year, they would have 300 less. Well, at that point, town Y is still bigger, so we can go back another year. Here's 2000, so this would be 7,490, and this would be 8,400. Town Y is still bigger, and we can continue this. 7,610, 8,100, 1998, 7,730, 7,800. We can see town Y is still bigger, but it's barely bigger, and in fact, in 1997, it's actually town X that's larger. So sometime in year 1997, town Y overtakes town X, where they have the same amount of people. So during 1997, they have the same population. So the second way to do this problem, and this is actually from the section after this, but you now have these tools as well, is to write equations for the populations of the two towns, and then to find the solution to that system of equations. And we've learned substitution so far. So you have population of town X, and the population of town X is going to be 7,250 minus 120 Y, where Y is number of years after 2002, and the population of town Y, I'm using subscripts here, is equal to 9,000 plus 300 Y, because it's 9,000 plus that rate of change, or the slope of 300 every year. If we want to know when those populations are equal to each other, we can set those two expressions equal to each other to find the value of Y. So 7,250 minus 120y is equal to 9,000 plus 300y. Well, to solve that equation, y shows up in two places. So I'm going to get rid of the y's on the left-hand side by adding 120y to both sides. We get 7,250 is equal to 9,000 plus 420y. And let's get a little more room here. And so continuing to solve for y, we can subtract 9,000 from both sides. And we'll get negative 1,750 is equal to 420y. We can divide both sides, 420. So we can factor a 10 out of the top and the bottom, and so those cancel out. Let's see, negative 175 would be 7 times 25. So we can take a 7 out also, so this simplifies to negative 25 over 6 is equal to y. Now I know I usually don't like mixed numbers, but in this case we want to see sort of how many whole years this is, so let's write this as a mixed number. This would be negative 4 and 1/6 equals y. So a little bit more than 4 years before 2002 they had the same population, which would be during 1997, which is the same answer that we got when we used the table. Great.